Welcome back, Math 9. Today we are continuing our polynomial lesson. And what we are going to focus will be breaking into two different parts of a lesson video. One will be multiplying a constant and polynomial using tiles. As I mentioned to you guys, tiles play such a huge role, and it's going to be repeated in Math 10C too when you go to grade 10. And when it comes to next lesson, as you may already guessed, without tiles. So we're going to look at these two possibilities. If you do not know which page that I am at page 14 of your booklet. So have that in your mind. One thing that you need to understand is, when it comes to the process of bad math, bracket and multiplication, these two actually follow through quite close together, just because multiplication sign in algebraic expression, we don't put multiplication sign. As you may notice, it's going to be like number outside of the bracket, something like that. And it is your job to actually go through the relationship between the constant outside of a bracket and how that can be distributed well into any of the components, whether you have second degree, first degree, or no degree, which is constant term that is inside of the bracket. But here's what we are going to do. We are not doing any distribution factor in here. We are basically using our integer tile. The way that you prepare integer tile, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, this is how you do. Have some kind of horizontal line and vertical line to create a table. We are going to put one of expression, which I'm going to put expression 1 on the left side and expression 2 on the above side. So what I mean by that is, for example, I'm going to call this whole number outside as expression number 1. And when it comes to this bracket, I'm going to call it expression 2. This is not the first time that we have dealt with algebra tile. Positive is empty diagram and negative means filled diagram. So positive 2. Technically, if you rewrite the whole thing, this is like 2 times x plus 3. We are focusing on this 2 first. It is small square and you need 2 of them. Emptied one. That's how you do, ladies and gentlemen. So the first expression, which is on the left side or outside of the bracket, I put it vertically. Horizontally, I have x plus 3. Now let's recall. This x, ladies and gentlemen, it's a strip, empty strip. So I put that as an empty strip. And we have constant positive 3. So that's 1, 2, 3. 3 same type of integer tile. In your textbook, like I mentioned, instead of using black and white situation or empty or fill situation, they use yellow and red or blue and red or white and red, green and red. There are so many different types. So it depends on the textbook. Just for the heads up, you may need to be, you may need to be familiar with those setups. Just for the heads up. Now here's what you do. When you have a strip and small, I want you to follow the bigger one. So what I mean by that is strip has more surface area compared to the square one. So strip and square combined together make a square. Strip, square, make a square. You may notice that I'm putting empty one in here because technically if it's empty, that's positive and positive and positive. So if you think about positive and positive multiplication, you should have the positive. Square, square, make another same type of square. Horizontally and vertically. So ladies and gentlemen, if I tell you a little bit of a step, this expression 1, expression 2, this is my step number 1. Drawing your, how can I say, outside expression and inside expression. Then step number 2 is this inside step over here, inside of the table, if you will. The reason that I'm saying table is because you can consider that as a little bit line. You guys remember the table, right? So I can see what's inside of this row and column. That's my step number 3. Step number 2. Step number 3 is combine and simplification step. Fortunately, right now, we don't have 0 pair, but sometime you will have a 0 pair. Then we have to get rid of some of those. Right now, we don't have. So the summary step is adding everything, like 2 strip. So that's 2x. I don't decide to put positive 2x unless it's negative. At this point, you should already start figuring out. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 empty small square. So my final expression is 2x plus 6. That's how we do. We're going to do many examples today, so just for the heads up. Next one. Use tiles to multiply the following polynomial. So, I'm going to point that this is my expression 1. Rest of them, expression 2. Positive 2 is what I have, so very identical as the last one. Have a good enough of space. You will know why. Then next one. When it comes to horizontal one, I want you to put negative x, which is strip. However, you may notice that I'm filling that strip. And positive 4, empty, 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 empty 1, just like that. Now, at this point, what you need to do is basically color and non-color or filled and empty one. I want you to combine. Then it will be, think about it, negative times positive is basically what I'm asking. And you will have negative, because negative, like negative 1, positive 1, that gives you negative 1 when you multiply. Same thing. Color, empty, make it color. Empty, empty, make it into empty 1, empty 1. And we're doing that process. There you go. Therefore, as a result, everything that I have inside of this table will be my answer or product of the multiplication process. So I have 2 color strips, so negative 2x plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of the empty square, tiny integer square. So that's positive 8. That's how we do, ladies and gentlemen. Let's pick up some pace for the last one on page 14. First expression, which is outside of the bracket. Second expression, inside of the bracket. Negative 3, thus I'm putting colored, 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 integer tile. Next one, color strip, and color, color, color. Some people get panicky when it comes to a lot of negative, but think about it. Negative multiplied by negative, what kind of sign will you get in that situation? The answer is positive, because double negative always turn everything into positive. So strip and square give you strip, but empty 1. Same process is what's happening. So as you may notice, if I count every single component that is inside of this bracket, you will figure out instead of negative now we have everything positive, and that's positive 6x plus 9. That's how you do, ladies and gentlemen. Things can get a little bit more serious when we deal with any question at the back over here too. Know the fact that I'm gonna change some example on purpose. So what you will see in the example inside of, how can I say, inside of the Google class is slightly different. Let's do something fun in here. I know that the question over here, it says multiplying a constant, and you know a constant is just a countable number, integer in this case. So you will deal with situation where you have numbers outside. I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to change my plan a little bit. Let's not do those for now because we're going back to online learning. Let's just go along with the constant situation. Sorry, I was going to do some experimental stuff, but maybe not a good time for today's lesson. Then same as last time, left side will be expression 1, right side expression 2. Negative 2, so that's 2 colored square. And next one, strip, colored, color. That's what I'm gonna do. Color and non-color or filled and empty, give you empty. Strip is bigger than the, this small integer tile, so you gotta do that. Same thing. Color, turning into empty. Oops, sorry. Color and filled. That give you negative. Oh, I almost did a big mistake over here. Color, give you non-color. Color, give you non-color. So negative, positive. Same deal. And I want you to basically combine these guys together. So far, you may notice nothing cancels out. It's just adding the whole thing. Negative 2x plus 4. I want you to give it a shot for all the other ones. And for this one, I'm not going to say any type of steps. You guys can double check. So for about like 3 minutes, you will be having a silent period. Unless my dogs go crazy. If you double check with your work, the second example on that page D, the final answer is negative 2b plus 6. Always be careful with the color. Six color strip and 12 empty small squares represent negative 6k plus 12. The last one is tricky just because we have a lot of strip. These are empty strips, so 12W plus 6. Tiny integer tile. This is how we expand, I like to say, or deal with any multiplication of polynomial, ladies and gentlemen. That's today's lesson, and I want you to go through the homework question, which will be shortly showing after this.